The day Jesus was eaten by a sandworm, a forgotten tale of divine hubris. In the endless sands of the Desolation, where the sun burned hot and the wind whispered ancient secrets, there lurked a creature unlike any other, a sandworm, titanic and eternal, born of the first breath of the world. It was called Ur'thal Nur, the world-eater feared by Djinn, revered by Faeries, and whispered of in the oldest tongues as a force beyond gods, demons and mortals alike. The sandworm was not evil, nor was it good. It simply was a primordial entity that consumed all who dared tread its domain. Indifferent to the warring forces that plagued the universe, the arrival of Yahweh as Jesus, after Yahweh had taken on the mortal guise of Jesus Christ, his war against the rebellious forces of heaven and the neutral kingdoms waged on. But his divine pride knew no bounds, and he sought to prove his dominion over every realm, every beast and every power in existence. In his arrogance, Jesus proclaimed that even the wilds of the Desolation would bow before his might, and that he would subdue the legendary sandworm, Ur'thal Nur, as a sign of his supremacy. Jesus, robed in his illusion of humility but burning with divine arrogance, descended into the vast desert. The winds howled, carrying with them the murmurs of forgotten gods and the cries of lost souls swallowed by the sands. Jesus walked boldly, his sandals leaving faint imprints in the ground, and with each step, the earth trembled as if the desolation itself rejected his presence. The Faeries and Djinn watched from the shadows, silent witnesses to the unfolding folly, the confrontation. At the heart of the desert, where the sun's heat warped the air and the dunes shifted like the restless waves of a sea, Jesus stood and called forth Ur'thal Nur. His voice echoed like thunder, commanding the worm to rise and submit to his divine will. The ground began to quake, and from beneath the shifting sands, the colossal form of the sandworm emerged, its body stretching hundreds of feet, scales glistening like molten glass, and eyes like burning coals. The sight was a terror beyond comprehension. Ur'thal Nur was not merely a beast, but an ancient force, a remnant of the world before the gods. Its gaping maw could swallow cities whole, and its roar was the sound of worlds ending. Yet Jesus, filled with the certainty of his own power, did not waver. He raised his hand, light emanating from his palm, and sought to subdue the sandworm with divine force. But the worm did not heed his command. Ur'thal Nur, driven not by fear or desire, but by the endless hunger that had sustained it since time's dawn, lunged forward with a speed that defied its massive size. The sand around Jesus erupted, and within moments he was engulfed, swallowed whole by the world-eater. The descent into darkness. Inside the belly of the sandworm, all was darkness and crushing pressure. Jesus, undaunted, summoned his divine light, but it flickered feebly, swallowed by the consuming void. He struck the walls of the worm's stomach, expecting them to yield as all things did before his power. But the flesh was unlike anything he had ever faced. Ancient, impenetrable, a dark womb that absorbed all force and light. Here in the depths of Ur'thal Nur, Yahweh's mortal guise was stripped bare, and for the first time he felt the cold, suffocating grip of true insignificance. The sandworm's insides were a labyrinth of organic tunnels, slick with digestive fluids that corroded even the divine. Jesus' cries of command turned to cries of pain as the acids gnawed at his flesh, eating away at the illusion of the holy. Time lost all meaning within the worm's belly. Hours felt like days, days like eternities. Jesus' power waned, and his prayers went unanswered, swallowed by the abyss, the echoes of the forgotten. As Jesus fought against the inevitable, he heard whispers, voices of those who had been consumed before him, lingering echoes of ancient kings, forgotten gods, and powerful Djinn who had dared challenge Ur'thal Nur. They did not speak in condemnation or praise, but in a weary acceptance of their fate. They were the remnants of the proud and the powerful, reduced to nothing within the maw of the world-eater. Among them, Jesus saw his own reflection, a god reduced to a mere echo in the dark. Lucifer, watching from the ethereal plane, felt no triumph at this turn of events, for he knew that the desolation devoured all without prejudice. It was not Yahweh's divine pretensions that had drawn Ur'thal Nur's wrath, but simply that he had been foolish enough to cross paths with an uncaring ancient force. The birth of a new legend. Days passed, or perhaps centuries, until the sandworm finally burrowed deep beneath the earth, disappearing into the endless sands. The desert fell silent once more, and the Faeries and Djinn marked the spot as cursed ground. where even the mightiest of gods had met their end. The story of Jesus' demise was whispered among the Fae courts and the Djinn councils, a tale of divine hubris and the indifferent wrath of the primordial. The mortal world never knew what became of their savior, for Yahweh did not return from the desolation. His followers spoke of his ascension, of miracles and holy resurrections, but the truth was buried in the sands. Yahweh, the self-proclaimed ruler of all, had been devoured by something older, something that did not care for thrones or heavens, something that would continue to devour until the stars themselves faded to dust. And so the legend of Ur'thal Nur, the World Eater, grew, a tale of the day the desert claimed a god, and the cosmos was reminded that even the divine could be brought low by the unknowable depths of the wild.